Good morning. Let's let some people get on here. I've been trying to read messages because I got here a little early. Can y'all tell I'm at the bus station? No, yeah, the bus station right now. I'm at the bus station. You know what? It's like this. We're all at the bus station right now, trying to figure out what bus to get on. I'm going to wait a few minutes because it takes people a minute to get on. So I'll start by telling y'all. So as far as, me being a caregiver, like I've been a caregiver, but I hadn't like been a caregiver. You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't had to like deal with poop and stuff like that until recently. And I been dealing with it. And I know this is disgusting, but basically I'm lining, the nurse taught me how to line the porta potty with Walmart sacks. So it is so much easier. So I line the toilets with two Walmart sacks, and then I don't have to really touch the poop. I just put on gloves and put the Walmart sack in a knot. And the only thing I can do is put it in the trash can, right? And it stinks like holy, you know what, because there's crap in the trash can. Well, I go out there this morning to get a water. There's no water, so I am drinking what I have in there. Then I open the garage, and all out in my driveway, Shane sent me a text message. She goes, I just want to let you know, as I was going to work this morning, your little friendly raccoon has been in the trash can. So all out in my driveway is you know what. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to scream. I was like, okay, Judy, deep breath. You got this. Go put on some freaking gloves and you got this. And then I come to sit down to fixing to go live, and I look at my messages, and the farrier is like, I'll be at your house at 8:30. And I'm like, I don't get off my live till 8. I got poopy pants all in my driveway. I got the farrier coming at 8. I got the social worker coming today. I have the chaplain coming today. But I am excited about this. Today at 11 o'clock, I get my results from my hormone test. So it's really been a weird process because, okay, so I had to pick up the test from this pharmacy that's here in Coleman. It's called the Specialty Pharmacy, and they do like compounding and stuff like that. So I picked up the test. I had to come home. I had to take the test for 3 days. I don't know, 3 days. I had a TT on this thing for 5 days. No, for 5 times and for 3 days. Anyway, so the doctor's office doesn't call to give me the results. The pharmacy does. Isn't that weird? I was like, oh, okay. So today at 11 o'clock, I find out how jacked up my hormones are. And they are. I am hot flashing like a son of a gun. So I have a lot going on today. So I am in the bus station and I feel like I'm walking towards the struggle bus, but I'm trying to moonwalk backwards and go, no, 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 no. You're not getting on the struggle bus this morning. No, 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 Judy. You can't do this. You got too much to do to be on a struggle bus. So I'm just kind of here. So a lot of people have been asking me about the Celtic salt. Do I feel different? The biggest, I know this is too much information. This is disgusting, but you know me. Tell it like it is, Judy. But the biggest thing is I went from rabbit turds to normal poop. That's my biggest. I know that's gross. I've talked about poop twice this morning. But as far as digestion, I can see a difference. As far as energy, I feel better. So I'll just tell you. So, I'm having to do Larry's medicine now, and he takes B12 every day, and they're little bitty pills. And if there's a big vitamin that's a big pill, I ain't taking it. I just can't swallow the daggum thing. But there was a little bitty B12 pill, and I was like, I wonder if I should start trying to take B12 for energy. So I started taking the Libby B12 pills, and I'm going to tell you, I feel different on the B12. Now, as far as energy and stuff, I can't really tell a lot of difference. The biggest difference I can tell with the Celtic salt is my poop is better. You know that poop chart that shows you how you're supposed to poop. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I'm now healthy pooping. I'm on the good health chart with the poop chart. So, that's what I can say. Heidi has been taking Celtic salt too. Heidi, have you noticed a difference? Let's see what Heidi says. Teresa, you a lucky dog if you never had hot flashes, is all I can say, because it is terrible. It's terrible. Train wreck. Just total train wreck. Okay, I don't know if Heidi's still here. All right. I want to tell you something that is not good for me. Since my hair's thinning. So since I am not good sitting still. I know you guys are always going, I'm taking my glasses off so I can't see. Y'all are always telling me, Judy, take care of yourself. Take care. I do not do good sitting still. When I sit still, I like become worthless, and I just want to go to sleep, and I feel depressed. And so since my farm has been closed, I feel really sad. I ain't gonna lie. It's just, and the hardest part for me is people are messaging me. And this family messaged me, and they said, I was so glad to find that you're a safe place for autistic kids. We would like to bring our child that's autistic to your farm. And this is me. Okay, when? And I'm like, Judy, you're closed. Yeah, like you can't do this. And I'm having a hard time. And then I just got this message from this girl going, hey, it's my son's birthday. I mean, my boyfriend's birthday, October 17th, and I would love to surprise him and bring him to your farm. And my first reaction was like, okay, what time? And then I'm like, Judy, you can't. And I'm like, that's what I'm having a hard time with, is because like my heart and my desire is to go on and just go, it'll be all right. But then, like yesterday, I was putting the animals to bed and I got a text message from Larry. And so when I get a text message, I have to stop what I'm doing and go handle it, because he don't text me for no reason. He ain't texting me to chit chat. It ain't like the nursing home. He's texting me he needs something. So I have to go back in. And so can you imagine if I was out there like with the big animals with kids, and I have to stop in the middle of the tour and say, y'all gonna have to go sit in the car for a minute because nobody can be out here with my animals. And I thought that Kayla could do, the tours and just do them during the week. But then I was like, I don't make enough money to do that. I'm on a struggle bus, okay, when it comes to trying to accept this new change. Okay, so let me tell you what's not good for me. Y'all, TikTok is a train wreck for me, okay? Since I've been sitting on the couch, you can only do so much Facebook and stuff like that. So I've been back on TikTok watching TikToks. And I laugh my butt off watching TikToks, because I like TikToks because it's like, I don't know, real music and stuff like that. So I've been watching TikTok. Okay, TikTok has this new thing where the creator can sell stuff. Y'all, it's almost like out of control. Because all these people these real people are advertising all these products. And I am a sucker. I'm like, let's see, what have I bought? I bought this new setting powder because like 400,000 people that I've been watching all weekend says it's the best setting powder ever. So of course I'm going to buy it. And then there's this little cell phone for kids that you can take pictures and it looks like a real cell phone and it's for kids. And I was like, oh, Judy from the group home would love this cell phone. I ordered it. And I'm like, God, Judy, stop freaking buying stuff. You're going to go broke. You have no money. Stop. The TikTok is a nightmare. And then there's this creator. It's called Tales from the Streets. And it's about this guy that goes and interviews people that are homeless that are on meth and drugs. And when I tell you, I have sat and watched these people. There's this one lady, if y'all know what I'm talking about, she's got this big thing on her arm and she looks terrible. And it's such a trigger to me because my brother's homeless. And I'm like, I'm like, he's going to interview my brother. Let me just keep watching. He's going to find my brother. And I'm like, I have got to get off TikTok. I have got, from the shopping until Tales of the street. I'm like, this is not good for me. So I have got to be strong, just like I gave up my protein shakes. I've got to not watch TikTok and focus on something positive. So listen, it's just not good for me. So anyway, so I was going to tell y'all about my nephew. My nephew is, I think he's going to be 9 years old in November. This is my oldest brother. My oldest brother has 6 kids. Y'all met Journey May, you met Fisher, Trinity. They've come and stayed with me, and I filmed them. But Ryder's the baby. He is 9 years old. Or he's gonna be 9, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I was on FaceTime with him, and I was asking him what he wanted for his birthday. And so I said, do you want money or do you want a present? Let me tell you what he said to me. Are you ready for this? An 8-year-old boy, okay? He said, Juju, Aunt Juju, I want money. But will you give my money to Pawpaw so he can buy something that will make him happy? I'm bawling my eyes out. I'm like, this 8-year-old boy wants to give his birthday money to Pawpaw to buy something to make him happy. I called my brother. I said, hey, I just want to let you know, you talk about your youngin' being a train wreck all the time. I just want you to know that obviously you and your wife are doing something right for him to sit there and say that to me. So where you think he's going down the wrong trail, obviously he has a heart and he's kind and he cares about his pawpaw. Was that not the sweetest thing ever? Yeah. So today I would like to talk about living in the past, living in the present, no, living in the past, living in the future, and being present. Because I'm struggling with that right now. Living in the past, you know how memories creep up, and I will tell you, when you live in the past, you're living with anxiety. Because usually, if you're living in the past, you're either reminiscent about really good times and you wish things were like they used to be. You wish, like for me, when I'm reminiscing in the past about my children, me and their dad was divorced, and the kids came over every other weekend because every other weekend they went to their dad. So I had my children and my stepson every other weekend. So my stepson, Packy is his name. I raised him since he was 3 years old. No, he was 2 years old. So I changed his diapers. He only knows me in his life. He's basically mine. I'm very close to him. As a matter of fact, I spent like an hour and a half on the phone with him yesterday. We are very close to this day. I look at him as my child. I say that I have 2 kids because I have 2 biological kids, but I really have 3. I have 3 boys. So every other weekend, all 3 of the boys were at our house, and we had fun. Like, the kids played sports, and Vanson was in theater, and like, I just sometimes I wished I could force my kids to come spend the night every other weekend. I'm saying. And so, like, sometimes when I'm living in the past, there's such good memories, you know? There's such good memories of going, God, I remember when my kids were small, we used to all cuddle up together and eat popcorn at night and, you know, like going to the ballpark and going to the school functions. Like all those were great memories, but it brings anxiety and sadness because we wish that we still had it. We wish that our kids were still small and still wanted mom and, you know, like would cry when we dropped them off at daycare. The feeling of a mom kid relationship. Like, even though we're sitting here reminiscing about the past and all these great things that happened in the past, it brings on anxiety and like wishing things were like they used to be. And, you know, I have talked to you guys about my struggle at Christmas. I struggle big time at Christmas because of my mother not being here, because my mother always was a big Christmas person. So she decorated every room in her house. And like, I was 30 years old getting Santa Claus. Like it wasn't like it's just that's how my mom was. Like during Easter, the Easter bunny, here I am grown and married, and I would get up Easter morning and there's an Easter basket at my front door, you know, and I'm in my 30s and I'm married, you know, and mom delivered an Easter basket every single year when she was a walking person. And so that's just how my mom was. And so when I'm living in the past and I'm thinking about all these memories with my mother, it brings me a smile, but it also brings me sadness and it brings me anxiety because, like, when Christmas rolls around or Easter rolls around, I wish I could walk to the front door and open the door and there's an Easter basket, you know? So oftentimes when we revisit our past, it brings anxiety and it brings tears and but it also, like, you're bawling your eyes out, but you have a smile on your face because you're remembering how great things used to be. And sometimes, you know, when we're living in the past, we also have regrets. I should have done this. If I could go back in the past, I would redo this. So also we live with that, with regrets when we're in the past. And do I think that we shouldn't, you know, sit here and think about the past? I mean, that would be that if I sit here and said, y'all, I don't want you to live in the past. I think that that's the impossible, right? I mean, we all revisit our past often, especially, you know, like my marriage to Robbie, the guy that I was married to for 15 years, we were big family people. We were, you know, when I say we were big family, like Robbie and I were big supporters of our children. Like, even when it wasn't our weekend to have the children, and let's just say they had a ball game and it, you know, we could have taken a day off and not gone to the ballpark, let's say, you know, Robbie and I were at every single function, school function that our kids ever had, whether it was our weekend or not. We were very involved in our children's lives. And now that my children, you know, I'm remarried to Shane, there's times when I revisit the past. Like, for example, Vanson is my youngest son. Vanson to this day is in shows. So in October, he landed the lead role And I never can remember this. Jane, help me remember what Legally Blonde. No, not Legally Blonde. I'm the worst mother ever. Yeah, it is Legally Blonde. No. It has to do with someone that has a blonde hair and she has a little dog. It is Legally Blonde. Okay. I'm not a terrible mother after all. So anyway, Vanson Leia is the lead of this play. And so usually when Vanson has a performance and it's like 4 days long, I ain't going to one. I'm going to every flipping one of them. Okay. That's just who I've done it when he was in high school and he had a theater performance. I'm going to every freaking show. It was me and this other mother. We would laugh because we would be at every one of them. If there was a 2:00 and a 7:00 show on Saturday, me and this mother, we went Thursday, we went Friday, we went 2 times Saturday, and we went 2 times Sunday. Like, our kids are performing. Like, we could sit in that audience and watch our children sing and act. It's like, and I'm still like that to this day. So in October, it's the 1st of October, Vanson has a performance Thursday at 7:30, Friday at 7:30, Saturday at 2 and 7:30, and then he has one on Sunday at 2. And I'm sitting here going, okay, how am I going to do this with Larry? Because this is my kid. You know, I can close my farm, but when it comes to my child, I'm going to the performances. And so I've got to figure out how to do all this. But I was living in my past, and Shane is not going with me. Never has, never will. He's not into that. He's just not. He went with me one time and he literally fell asleep in the middle of the performance. He's just not into it. Okay. And when I live in my past, sometimes, like when I'm driving there, you know, I think about like how before, you know, when my kids were young, how Robbie and I would go to everything. Robbie would go to every single one of them. I mean, he was just very supportive of Anson. And so Shane is, it's not that Shane is not, it's just not Shane's thing. It's not. And so oftentimes, since Shane and I have been married, when there's a performance, I go by myself. And sometimes when I'm sitting, like when I'm in the, let's back up. So when I go to the, like, let's just say Robbie and I divorced when Vanson was a sophomore in high. He was just beginning his sophomore year. So when I would go to a performance, I would go by myself. I was a single mother. Okay. I would go by myself. And then Vanson's dad and his wife would be there. And the grandmother would be there, and the grandfather would be there, and the aunt would be there, and the uncle would be there, and the cousins would be there. And they would take up one whole row, sometimes 2 rows of supporting Vanson. And then there's little Judy sitting back here going, wished I had a mother, wished I had a dad, wished I had a husband, wished I had a brother, wished I, you know, like, and it would bother me because I would go by myself. And I'm like, God, my family freaking sucks. Like, I have nobody to sit here and support Vanson or me. And so, you know, oftentimes I would feel sorry for myself, going, I have to sit here and look at this jackleg and all his family up here. But thank God, you know, Vanson had a dad that would go, you know, but When you live in the past, sometimes you think about all the good and you focus on, well, dang, I used to have support. Now I ain't got nobody. So living in the past, sometimes it brings up feelings like you remember something good, but it really wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? Like a person could be sitting next to you watching the show, but then mentally he's with someone else. You know what I'm saying? So, like, sometimes living in your past brings up stress, it brings up anxiety, it brings up regret, and brings up so much more. So, how do we get past living in our past? Let's retro to living in the future. For me, oh, living in the future brings up anxiety too. Because like Shane and I were talking, actually it started with the hospice nurse this weekend, and she was talking about Larry being in the nursing home, and we were talking about, it costs $10,600 for Larry to be in the nursing home. And when Medicaid denied him because of the property and stuff, they were saying, well, you could always, consider assisted living. Well, do you know how much the assisted living was? $7,000 some odd dollars. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it's cheaper than the nursing home, but dear Jesus, who's just got $7,000 to sit around and pay until the rest of your life? Nobody. So me and the hospice nurse were sitting and talking about our future. And we were talking about how, since she has been a hospice nurse and she's worked in the nursing home and hospice, she's realized how stupid it is to save your money. To save your money. And I said, that is so funny that you say that, because that is exactly what I've learned from this whole nursing home stuff. Like you're taught to plan for your future your whole entire life. I remember my dad sitting me down talking about save money, save money, save money, and I remember telling Shane before the nursing home situation, I would say, hey, we've got to plan, because these jackleg kids ain't taking care of us. Okay. I ain't living with my kids. I am not doing it, period. I know how difficult it is, and I'm not doing that to my children. So, Shane, we've got to save a lot of money so that we can take care of ourselves. But see, that's really stupid, because if you have money, you can't get approved. You can't get approved by the state to take care of you. When you get to the point where you need assisted living, the only way you can get approved is if you're broke as crap. When it's time for you to transition to a nursing home, the only way you can get approved if you're broke as crap. So like this thing of you need to save your money your whole life is a bunch of crock of crap. I've realized that. I'm like, Shane, listen, we need to live our lives. We don't need to save our money. It's stupid. Why save our money when the state is going to get it? Like let's just go buy the 50 acres. Like just do it. We're not going to travel. Neither one of Shane nor I are travelers. Let's just go do it. You want to buy a piece of equipment? Let's just be rebels and let's just do it. Because if we don't and we save our money and it gets to the point where we have to go to the nursing home, we're going to give it to the state. So, like, when you live in the future and you think about, like, because Shane got home yesterday, and why were we talking about this? I think he said we were talking about if Shane dies, what am I gonna do? And I'm like, I'm not living here. I do know that because I don't live on flat land and I can't operate the tractor and feel good about myself. So I'm like, I think that if something happened to you, and he said to me, he goes, well, if something happens to me, you're going to be rich. Yeah, okay. Rich, just totally rich, you know? And and I said, I think that if something happened to you and I could feel anxiety as I talked about my future, I could feel the anxiety and I could feel the knot coming up in my throat where I was like almost to the point of tears thinking about something happening to my husband. And I could feel just tension going up my neck. And I was like, Shane, I don't think I can talk about this. If something happened to you, I would die. Like, I would just be, I don't know what I would do. Like, I can't imagine my life without Shane. Shane, don't tell him this, but he does everything around here. Okay. Don't tell him because he already thinks he does. And I don't like for him to think, I like for him to think that I do things around here too. So do not tell him that Judy said he does everything around here, but he does. He can fix anything, he can do anything. And as I was talking about the future and our health declining and what we would do without each other and what would we do when we get to the point of a nursing home and all these things, or my kids having to clean my dirty diapers, all this stuff, it brought tears and anxiety to me. And I thought, as I sat there and was thinking about living in the past causes anxiety and depression and guilt. Wish we'd have done it this way. If if I'd only known Daddy was about to die, I would have told him this. We do that when we live in the past. And when we live in the future, we think about losing someone or losing our health or losing the ability to be able to walk, and what am I going to do, and what's going to happen to little Susie, and what, like we live like that, and it causes anxiety and it causes depression and it causes us not to feel all warm and fuzzy inside. But what does it feel like to live in the present? I think for someone like me that fights depression, when I sit and think, when I sit and think about what do I do? When I say what do I do, I mean, like, where is my brain majority of the time? Where is your brain majority? Is your brain living in the past? Does your brain, like, sometimes when you reach a certain age, you live in the future? What are we gonna do when we get older? Where are our kids gonna throw us in a nursing home? Like, I hope they get us a good one and don't get us a state one, you know? Like, you know what I'm saying? Oftentimes, it depends on what age you are. How do you find yourself living your life? Do you live it in the future? Do you live it in the past? I'm gonna give you some time to think about it. Think about a typical day for you when you're like me and you're sitting on the couch and it's quiet, no one's around. I wished I'd have never married this old man. He's so ornery. God dang. I wish he'd go back to work and like get out of my face. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine when Shane retires. Oh dear Jesus. If I have to sit and deal with him every day, I'm in trouble. I'm in slap trouble. So if you're at the retirement age and you've just retired and you're staring at your husband every day, you get me. You know what I'm saying? Or you're staring at your wife every day going, if she does that one more time, I'm going to lose it. You know what I'm saying? Why couldn't he be like he used to be when we first started dating, when he'd bring roses home and now he's just a mean old man? I want to know. I read your comments, so maybe not right this minute, but I want to know, are you living in the past, wishing mama, daddy were around? Or do you live in the future? What would it be like if we were so strong in our brains that we lived in the present? So think about it for just a minute. Living in the present moment. What does that even mean? I'm going to give you a second to think about it. When I try to force myself to live in the present, it is almost like it's impossible. Because you find yourself, for me, like if I'm going, okay, if I'm in the side by side riding around the property and I'm like, okay, Christmas is coming up. Do not think about the past, Judy. Okay, Christmas is coming up. Don't sit here and try to plan all your kids being in the same room at the same time because it ain't going to happen. So do not live in the future, Judy. I'm riding around the side by side, looking around. Okay, Judy, live in the present. Live in the present. Don't think about what's coming up. Don't think what's been left behind. Live in the present. It's almost like I have to force myself to live in the present. It's like force myself. What does it mean to live in the present? So if I'm in a side by side and I'm riding around my property and I know the holidays are coming up and I'm thinking about how great it was when mama was alive and what it was like being a child when Santa Claus, waking up to Santa Claus or whatever, that's living in the past. You find yourself going there when as soon as the Christmas holidays start coming up. Y'all remember when mama used to fix breakfast in the morning and all of us kids used to love it when she made hamburger gravy. You know, when old Aunt Helen used to come to town and we used to all get at grandma's house and she'd fix homemade biscuits and we used to sit around the table and we'd all get gifts and everyone was so pleasant and happy. We start doing that. And when you begin to try to force your brain to live in the present, it's almost like a struggle for me. And I'm like, okay, what's happening right now? What's happening? Oh, but mama used to. Oh, stop, Judy. Okay, what's happening right now? What's happening in the present? Okay, well, it ain't Christmas Day. We ain't at mama's house. We ain't at grandma's house. Like, be in the present, Judy. Okay. And you find yourself like going to the future, going to the bag. Okay, this year we're going to do this for Christmas. Da, da, da. Nope, live in the present, Judy. Live in the present. Quit thinking about what you're decorating and what tree you're going to put in the living room. Stop, pause. Stop and pause, Judy. Live in the present. For this 5 minutes, I find it so difficult to try to live in the present moment. The present moment when I'm riding around on my side by side and we're in September, we shouldn't be thinking about the past and we should be thinking about the future. Being present is being in that side by side. And I will tell you what my doctor taught me. Being present, think of the five senses. What do you see? Okay, I'm in the side by side. I'm going down to the creek. Okay, I see a rocky path. Man, the water from the rain sure did jack up the road. Okay, if you think about that, I'm talking about what happened a couple of days ago. So am I really in the present when I'm sitting here driving down the road and I'm talking about what happened in the past couple of days with all the rain jacking up the driveway to get to the creek? I'm thinking about what happened. That's not being present. Being present. Okay, I'm riding down this road. What do you see? I see rocks. I see I see the water. I see it flowing. I see the trees starting to turn colors. Okay, so let's go to the next. What do you smell? Well, it smells like rain. It smells wet. It smells so I stop the side by side. If I can't smell in the side by side, stop the side by side, get out of the car and go, what do you smell? What am I smelling? So what do you see? What do you smell? Help me, y'all. What can you touch? Okay, so when I'm trying to be in the present moment and force myself to be in the present moment, let me ask y'all this. Is it easy for you to live in the present? Have you even tried? Do you even know what I'm talking about? Kayla, will you put some, well, you might be taking Brindley to school. Never mind. I still can't. I thought I might be able to see it, but I can't. Yes. Yes. Kathy, you do it every day? That is fantastic. I suck at living in the present. And I think I've realized that majority of my anxiety comes from, that's great. I'll find myself flip-flopping back and forth from the present to the past. I mean, from the past to the future. Yeah, me too, Heidi. Thanks, Kayla. I think that I've been putting a lot of thought into this live today. And if you're like me and it finds yourself flip-flopping back and forth between the past and the future, and you struggle with anxiety. One of my followers asked me to talk about patience. And I think when I was trying to think, because I suck at patience in everything. I want it now. I'm not good at waiting. But when I think about living in the past and the future, I think I don't have patience because I live in the past and the future. And I think for me, I can't speak for everyone, but if you've lost your parents or you've lost your spouse, you find yourself living in the past. What it was like when daddy was here, what it was like when your wife was here, what it was like when mama was here, what would mama had done. We find ourselves visiting the past when you've dealt with death, I think. And I think when you find yourself living in the past, like sometimes, like, I'll live in the past and I'll say, and I even think about the present, and I think about my brother, and I'm thinking, my mother and my dad would have flipped their lid if they could see what was going on today. My parents, especially my father, because my brother took over my dad's family business and lost it all for drugs. My dad, his heart would have been broken. That's his baby boy. Mom, if she knew that Bobby was homeless, I'm sorry, I said his name. If she could see what we see, she would flip her. She would die. So it's kind of like you're living in the past and present. So how do we live in the present and not focus on the past and the future? I don't know this answer, so I'm not fixing to give you an answer. I can give you what I'm thinking, but I ain't no professional, right? I think personally, to spend more time in the present means meditating more. And sometimes when you think of meditating, you think, this is so stupid. Because I know my counselor, I was in a program, and I've been in a lot of programs, but I was in a program called DBT. Look it up. D is in dog, B is in boy, T is in Tom. I went through 2 years of DBT. It was an outpatient program. And we would go in the room, and she would light a candle that made noise. It like sizzled. I forgot what that candle's called. And she'd go, okay, I want you to just meditate on this flame. And I would be looking at the flame going, this is the stupidest thing I've heard in my life. I couldn't. I was so stuck during this time. Shane triggers a lot of fear in me with homelessness. Okay. He doesn't do it on purpose, and it has anything to do with him. It's all me. Okay. And so during this time, Shane and I had just gotten married, and I'm trying to meditate and look at this flipping camera. I was trying to look at this flame and close my, and then she'd say, close your, I'm like, I'm struggling. I can't do it. I can't live it. I can't do it. All I'm thinking about is the fear that I have inside me, and he's making me scared, and he's making me, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Like, it was like a panic. And she would like, close your eyes. What do you hear? And I could hear, you know what I'm talking about? Little crackling fire. Well, the candle was a crackling fire candle. I don't even know where she purchased this, but it was a little crackling fire candle. And she would go, okay, if you can't get to mindfulness, I just want you to close your eyes and tell me what you're hearing. Just listen to the sound. And I was forcing myself to get in the present. And I found that when I was forcing myself, it's almost as if I could not do it because I was forcing myself to try to make myself get in the moment. And I couldn't do it. So I began. She was like, I want you have 17 acres, Judy. I want you to walk around your property, and I want you to record 1-minute videos on things that will bring you to mindfulness. So I began to go around my property, and the first thing I saw was a butterfly. And I began to film the butterfly for 1 minute, flying around looking for this beautiful flower to land on. And it was just flying around for 1 minute. And then I went to the creek, and the creek was just a flowing, and just like, it almost sounded like the ocean. It was beautiful. So I recorded the water flowing for 1 minute. And so I would just go around and film things. Shane had a fire one time, so I recorded the fire. I don't know what this is, but we're fixing to open it. Oh, it looks like it's something to do with eyes. So I would just go around and film. Oh, it's mascara. I would just film things that I thought would bring me to the present moment. But this is what I would do. When I would film the butterfly, I'd be, oh, this reminds me of my mom. Every time I see a butterfly, it reminds me of my mother. I'm like, Judy, really? Get in the moment. Like, get in the moment. And it was almost as if the only thing that would force me into the moment was to get into my nasty chicken coop. Because at the time, the chicken coop that I had, my chickens didn't free range. So I literally would go get a chair, and I would plop it in the middle of my chicken coop or my chicken run. And I would sit there like this on my with my knees and just watch. And suddenly, when I began to do it every single day I began to do it. It was like no longer was I forcing myself to do it. It was just a routine. And I found when I wasn't forcing myself to get in the moment was the moment that I got in the moment. And I would sit in the chicken coop, and I would just focus on one chicken. And I was trying to figure out her personality. So I would just sit there and watch her. I'd watch her flirt, you know. I would listen to her make her little cooing sounds. Or I'd sit and watch a hen in the nesting box where she was laying an egg. And I would just sit there and go, what does she, like, wonder what she's thinking about as she's sitting there passing that egg. Like, does it feel good? You know, like I was thinking, hang on. This is too much information, but I go, I wonder what it feels like to pass an egg. And then I would be sitting there and I'd be like, Does it feel like say you're like constipated or something? You're like constipated or something, and what it feels like when you finally push it out, you know what I mean? You're like, "Oh god, I feel so much better." I wonder if she thinks like, I would sit there and think that. It was like, I wonder if she feels better when it actually starts coming out. Does she feel like relief like you do when you're constipated or like having a baby when you finally get that son of a gun out of you? Like, what is she feeling like? And I began to start getting in there and just getting in the moment. And I started just living in the present, wondering what it feels like to pass an egg and be a chicken. And then when she would pass the egg and she'd get up and they'd start, if you don't know chickens, when they actually lay an egg, they do this little chicken call. They will like, go around and it's like they're telling everybody they've laid an egg. And so, like, I would sit there and wait. I'm like, I'm sitting here until that son of a gun passes that egg. And then when she gets up and she does her little chicken dance, I'm going to clap for her. And I'd sit there. And sometimes it would take a minute for her to pass the egg or to lay the egg, I guess I should say. And I would sit there and then I would watch her and then I'd watch her do her little chicken dance that, hey, I just laid an egg. And I realized after doing it every single day, I was able to get in the present. But see, at first, I was forcing myself to get into the present because I live in the future and the past. And that's where my anxiety comes from. But when you live in the present, you don't have anxiety. And sometimes people think, "No, Judy, you don't understand. Like right now things are really bad. Me and my marriage is bad and that's what's happening in the present." No, not in the present moment that you're in. Like sit down in the present when he's not around or she's not around and tell me what's happening. Like what's happening in the present, okay? Well, you woke up this morning. Right now, there's no ruckus going on in the house. Everything is quiet. It feels good to be by myself. It feels good to be able to breathe right now and not have someone criticize me. It feels so good. Like, let me walk out and, oh, it's sun shining outside. Let me feel the warmth of the sun hitting me. Oh, it feels so good. That's living in the present, not going, well, the present is me and my husband just got in a big old knockdown fight and he is a big old jackleg. That's not living in the present. That's what happened this morning. When you're trying to get to mindfulness, you're trying to talk about what's happening in that moment. You ain't trying to get to mindfulness when someone's screaming or yelling or fighting. That's not when you're trying to get to mindfulness. When you're trying to get to mindfulness is when you get away from everyone and you're by yourself in the present moment. That is when you work on your meditation and living in the moment. If it is 5 minutes of peace, it's 5 minutes of peace. But you've got to learn to run after recovery. You have to want peace so bad that you run after it. So when I'm sitting here living in the past and I'm living in the future, I'm living in chaos. And sometimes we like chaos because it makes us feel good. It makes us fight harder. Or that's what we think. But what you don't realize is when you live in the present is when you're your strongest. It's when you've got a clear mind. Like let's say that you're in a fight with someone and you just like you're in the moment of fighting and you say things that you don't mean because you're in the moment of frustration. But if you walk away from it and go get in the present moment, your mind is strong enough to break it down and figure out what your ownership is, or why are you allowing this to happen, or how did this all happen? It's getting in the present moment to break it down. But if you can't break it down if you're not in the present moment. And if you have a hard time like me getting in the present moment, you need to go find some, like for me, it was a chicken coop. Okay, you don't have chickens. You've got to figure out how to escape from the chaos. The chaos of living in the past. Ah, sugar. I turned my curling iron off. You got to figure out how to escape it all. Maybe go into a lake. Maybe walk in on your lunch break at a local park. Maybe it's sitting in your car listening to soft music. Maybe it's laying down in your bed and putting your ear pods in and listening to LaWanda spin yarn. Maybe, I don't know what it is. But you've got to figure out, because we're all made differently. So what brings me to mindfulness is going to be different from what brings you to mindfulness. But you've got to figure yourself out to figure out how to get away from the chaos of the past and the future and live what's in the present. And you have to be by yourself. Sometimes people don't like to be by themselves, but in order to be in complete mindfulness, you have to concentrate on your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? Can you taste? Things like that. And you'll find that you'll start gaining a lot of strength. I'm almost done, y'all. You'll find yourself gaining a lot of strength when you live in the present. And you'll find that you're going to start craving the peace. You don't like something about yourself? That's a great moment to begin to change yourself. There was so many things that I did not like about myself for so long. And being by myself, meditating, concentrating on the things that I needed to fix but couldn't figure out how to fix because I've done it my whole life. Those are hard things to try to fix when you've done something your whole life because it's a habit. It's a bad habit to be in. But I'm here to tell you right now that you have the strength to change anything that you want to change about yourself. You do. If I can do it, you can do it. Speaking of changing yourselves, I have been on this journey for the past little over a month of trying to eat healthy. And I'm really proud of myself. I've done a really good job. And I've made really good decisions. And I feel better than I've felt in a long, long time. And during this chaos and this transition of closing my farm, taking care of Larry, being a caregiver, I've never really done all this stuff before. It's hard for me. It feels different. My life is changing. I feel proud of myself for taking care of Larry. I feel like it's something that I'll never regret. I feel sad because Sneed's farmhouse is closed. I feel scared. How am I going to make it? All these emotions are going through my brain 24/7. It's important for me to get in the present. I'm trying to focus on the things that I can control. I can't control closing Sneed's farmhouse. I can't control what happens with Larry. I have to stay in the present and go, okay, what does the best version of Judy look like in these moments? Because it's hard. What does it look like? Okay, well, first of all, what are the things that I can fix about myself? What can I control? Okay, I can control what goes in my mouth so that I feel better. Eating a bunch of junk and sugar is making me feel sad and depressed. So, eating healthy can replace all that junk with making myself feel better physically. And I feel so much better. Since I've added the protein shakes back, I'm just kidding. I don't drink these very often, but I do treat myself every now and then. I was only playing. But I have to go, what? I can't control Larry. I can't control what's happening in my farm right now, but I can control these things of bringing myself to mindfulness and keeping myself grounded during these hard times. What do I have to do to take care of myself? I need to go to the creek every single day. I need to go sit in my farm every single day. I need to make sure I'm getting enough sleep. I need to make sure I'm drinking enough water. And I need to make sure that I'm eating a balanced meal 3 times a day. And I'm trying really hard to concentrate on the things that I can control. And I can control everything when it comes to Judy. So remember that. Preach and stick. I love you guys. Just know that whatever you're facing, you're not facing alone. There are 100 and some odd backup dancers here to hold your hand, to let you know that you're not alone. Your marriage sucks. Your parents are getting sick. What holidays are coming up? It's going to suck. Know that you're not alone. There's a safe place to come every Monday and Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And here, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you that what's worked for me. And if something clicks, let it click. If it's something that you're like, that's not for me, just throw it out. But maybe one good thing I say can stick, or maybe you can relate to me in some way. And together, because I can't do this by myself, I need you. But together, we can learn to be the best version of ourselves by trying every single day, by showing up, by making one good choice good, changing things that are bad and toxic in our life. Change it. You're not too old to change these things that make you look like the best version of yourself. But remember, you have choices, okay? You're in the bus station. You can go walk to the struggle bus and be in misery, or you can walk to the double Dutch bus and dance. I love you guys. I'll see y'all Wednesday. Bye.